Good morning, Year 11. I have put the answers to this financial maths quiz for the 9th in, I think it was the date for the 9th anyway. Yes, in your OneNote, as you can see, I've numbered and put the questions as we go down there. I'm just going to go through them. I'm not going to go through every one. I'll go through the different types and then you can see the answers as we go. So in this first question, it tells us that Kate's paid a retain of 160 a week. That means she's going to get paid 160 a week no matter what happens. So we're going to add that each time she's getting that. And then she gets a commission on sales of 12.5%. So the other thing we're going to add is we're going to get the value of her sales and multiply it, find 12.5% of it. Now 12.5% of sales, 12.5 divided by 100 or 12.5. 12.5 divided by 100 is 0.125. So what I'm going to do is for each of these amounts, I've got my 160 and then I'm multiplying the amount of sales by that 0.125 and I'm adding them together and I'm just putting them in my calculator. Now, this is just an exercise where I just repeat this for the 5 different questions. There's nothing different. She is paid the same commission on her sales from $0 to whatever she sells, and there's no different rates. And so those 5 questions are doing the same thing. If we look at this one here, question 4, her amount is the 160 retainer plus 540 times that 0.125, which is 12.5%. Put it in your calculator and I get the answer of $227.50. So I'm going to let you do the rest of those. Now this next one is where we have an example of a different commission being paid depending on what we sell. Now what he's told in the question, it says that we get paid 6% on the first 20,000. Now when I've come down here, I've seen that each time it's paid more than or the sale is more than $20,000. So what I've done is I've just worked out what is the amount of money he earns in the first 20,000. So 20,000 times 6% equals 20 times 6 divided by 100, which I've calculated out, and that is equal to $1,200. Now, it's also told me that the next $80,000 that he earns, he's going to get paid 2%. So the next 80,000 is from 20,000 to 100,000. So from 20,000 to 100,000, which is $80,000, is paid 2%. So that's times 2 divided by 100 is $1,600. So for $100,000 worth of sales, he's going to be paid those two amounts together, $2,800. So I'm going to use that each time I get over $100,000. I'm going to use that in the first place for my amount of money on the 100,000 and calculate what's over the top of that. So looking at my first question, I have here that he's earned or sold 75,000. So that's under that 100,000, but it is above 20,000. So the amount that we're paid is 1,200, which is how much we get paid for the first 20,000. And then the amount over 20,000 is 75,000 minus 20,000 is 55,000. So we're paid $1,200 for the first 20,000, and then we're paid 55,000 times that 2%, 2 divided by 100. Add them together, and we get $2,300. Now my next question is exactly the same. $97,000 is also under 100,000, so I'm using the same working. I've got my amount for the first 20,000, and then I've subtracted 20,000 from 97,000 to get 77,000, and I've multiplied that out. Now my next question is, all my next 3 questions, I've earned over $100,000. So for each of these, I'm going to find out how much it is over $100,000, And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to start off with the amount we paid for that. So $112,000 minus $100,000 is $12,500. So the amount we're going to get paid is the amount for $100,000, which is up here, $2,800, and then we're going to get paid an extra $12,500 times 0.8%, which is 0.8 divided by 100. Put that in my calculator, and I've got 2,900. Now I've got the same working for the rest of these. 180,000 minus 100,000 is 85,000. So I've got 2,800 for the first 100,000, and then I've got 85,000 times 0.8 of a percent, 0.8 divided by 100. In my calculator comes out at 33,480, and finally my last one is exactly the same logic. Okay, so coming across here now, I'll just fit it in. We've got Ian's income is $895 in a week. Ian's income is $895 in a week where he sells $40,000 worth of goods. He earns a commission of 0.5 of his sales. What is his retainer? So we can work out how much he got paid in his retainer, because his commission he got paid was $40,000 by that 0.5%. So we put that in, 40,000 by 0.5 divided by 100. He got paid $200 for commission, and the total he got paid was $895. So his retainer is $895 minus $200, $695. My next question is about an electrician who is being paid for piecework plus a call-out fee. So his piecework things at $16 per PowerPoint. He's getting paid $17.50 per light fitting. He's getting paid $18.50 per switch. Now he's wired a house with 16 PowerPoints. It's got 13 light fittings, and it's got 15 switches. So what we're going to do is we're going to multiply those together and then add the 150. So if you look down here for how much is being paid, we've got our $16 by 16 switches, and then we've added in our $17.50 by his 13 light fittings, and then we've added in our $18.50 times 15 for his switches, and then finally we've added on his flat or his site fee of $150. And so we put all that in, and that has all come out to be $911. Looking at question 5, we've got Felicity working overtime. She's paid more than the normal rate, which is $12.75 per hour for the first 8 hours of work per day. Now she earns time and a half for the next 2 hours, and then she's going to earn double time for any hours worked after that. We need to calculate her pay on the particular days. All right, so that first day, she has done 3.5 hours. So she's done 3.5 hours at 12.75. So what I've done here, 3.5 hours by 12.75, 44.625, which is $44.63. Now on her next day, she has done 9 hours. That means that she's done her first 8 hours of work at normal time, and then 1 hour at time and a half. Now what I've done is I've gone across here, and in the first place I've worked out what my time and a half rate is. And it is simply rate, the hourly rate times 1.5, 12.75 times 1.5. I've left it at more than a cent, 19.125. So I must have missed one, have I? I have missed one. For some reason, I've worked out 6 different things, or only 5. So just bear with me when I have worked out all of these things here. For some reason, I thought I needed to work out. So this one here hasn't got a number. That's number 2, that's number 3, that's number 4, and that's number 5 when we're doing our questions. So that second one I worked out 8 hours at $12.75, which is our maximum at our standard rate, and that's $102. So what I've said is okay, so for 9 hours he gets paid $102 for 8 hours, and then he gets paid 1 hour at 19.125, and that is $121.13 when I put it in my calculator. Similarly now, when we're looking at his next one, he's got 11 hours. He's working at 10 hours. His next thing is working at 10 hours. For 10 hours, he is getting 8 hours of his normal time, which is 102. And then he's getting his 2 hours at time and a half. So he gets $140.25. Now this is the amount he gets for 10 hours. And it's the amount he gets for working 8 hours at normal time, 2 hours at his time and a half. Any hour he works after that from now on, he's going to get double time and a half. And so for 11 hours, when he's doing 11 hours, he's getting paid the same amount he gets paid for 10 hours. 10 hours was 140.25, which we worked out here. And then he's getting paid 1 hour at double time. So his double time rate was up here at his normal rate, $12.75 times 2, $25.50. So for 11 hours, he gets his 10 hours pay plus 1 at $25.50, 165.75. And finally, for 15 hours. For 15 hours, he is going to paid the amount for 10 hours, which is 140.25. And then he's going to get paid an extra 5 hours at that double time rate, 267.75. Right, now we are being asked to work out question 6. Michael receives his pay and decides to check the figures. You find he's paid $195 for overtime of 12 hours. So on his salary, no doubt he's got normal hours as well. They're in lines, and he's found that he's done 12 hours overtime in addition to that. And he's paid $195 for that. So what is the rate per hour Michael's paid for overtime? We have got down here 12 hours overtime equals $195. So 1 hour is simply $195 divided by 12, $16.25. Then it's asking us if the overtime is paid at time and a half. What is his normal hourly rate? So 1.5 times R is equal to that $16.25. So we're going to divide both sides by 1.5 to get R. $16.25 divided by 1.5 is $10.83. Okay, so looking at our next question, which looks like I didn't write in our number here. I'll just quickly do that. Question 7. Question 7 is here. So question 7, Dane gets paid weekly, $650 weekly, and has applied for his annual 4 weeks holidays. How much will his holiday pay be if it also includes a holiday loading of 7.5% on 4 weeks pay? That is 4 weeks normal pay plus loading. So let's do that simply by putting 4 weeks times his normal pay is $650. He's getting paid that, and on top of that, he's going to get paid this 17.5% loading on it. So 4 times 650 times 17.5%, which is times 17.5 divided by 100. Throw it all in your calculator and it will come out at $3,055. All right, let's have a look now at these taxable ones. So for all of these in this tax tables, we want to work out this taxable income first. Our taxable income is our gross income minus the deductions. So our first question, question 8. Marie earns $67,800, allowable tax deductions of $3,428. So first of all, a taxable income, gross minus deductions, 67,800 minus those deductions, 64,372. So now what we do is we come over here and we find which column is that one in, and we find row is that one in. We find it's in the third row. We are going to use that equation. So we've got 3,572 plus now 32.5 cents for each dollar. That is 0.325 of a dollar. So it is 0.325 times every dollar over 37,000, which is in our bracket 67,372 minus 37,000. Put that in our calculator, we will get $12,467.90. Now this next one is very, very similar. Hillary's earned $123,850 per year. So that one here, find her tax, she's claimed tax deductions of $4,928. We need her taxable income before we can do anything. 123,850 minus 4,928. Her taxable income 18,924. Now 18,924 is in the next row down. So we're going to be paying 17,547 plus 37 cents for every $1 over. 17,547 plus 0.137. Now we've got 118,927 minus that $80,000. Put that in brackets in your calculator and there is your answer. Now, the next part of the question is asking us, it's quite, I guess, a bit more involved. It is asking us for her weekly income after tax. So first, her pay after tax, her net pay. Taxable income minus her tax, 118,924 minus 30, the number we just found, 31,948.88. She's paid for the year 86,975.12. So her weekly income is simply that number divided by 52, and we find that that is 672.598. We always give our money correct to the cents, 2 decimal places, 1672.60. Our last and final question. John is paying $131.50 in tax instalments each week. So let's just come down here and do this first question. What is the total John has paid in tax instalments over the year? So he's paid that amount per week. So he's paid $131.50 and he's paid it for 52 weeks. He's paid $6,838. Okay. So his yearly income is $43,680. His allowable tax deductions come to $578. So his taxable income is the difference between those, 43,680 minus 578, 43,102. So now what we want to do is we want to grab that number and we want to come back up and find out what row it is in. And so if we grab that number, 43,102, we find it's in here. And so we are going to be using this equation again. So 3572 plus 0.325 times 43,102 minus 37,000 is giving us this answer that we have here. Quadruple 5 minus, and 15 cents. All right, so what is the amount of tax John should pay is what we have just worked out there in this blue one. Now, does John owe money or not is our question. Now, we know he's paid $6,838 and he only actually had to pay $5,555.15, so he's paid too much. So he's due a refund. He's due a refund. The amount he's due is the difference between those, 1282.85. So it's quite a long one thing. Hopefully that has helped. Please have a go at today.